Woody Johnson found his way to the spotlight yesterday. This is one of the great things about league meetings. And they have one every quarter, October meetings happening. Woody Johnson's there. Owners will talk to reporters. And for whatever reason, they seem to be less guarded in the gaggles than they would be behind a podium.
Right, you're right.
And sometimes they say stuff that makes you say, he said that? That's not AI. That's like that's my new go-to first level litmus test. When I see or hear quotes from someone that I thought, he said that or she said that, first thing, is this AI? Is this AI? Is this real? So Woody Johnson yesterday, and let's just, before we let you hear any of it, the gist of it was he's fully behind Aaron Glenn, even though Aaron Glenn is 0-7. He loves Aaron Glenn, said he hugs him every day. He's fully and completely behind the first-year coach of the team who hasn't won a game. Are you there?
What's your confidence level in Aaron to turn it around?
Well, it looks like he's turning around parts of it. You know, it's hard when you have a quarterback with, with a rating that we got. You know, he has the ability, but something just is not jiving. But if you look at any head coach with a quarterback like that, you're going to see similar results if you go across the league. You have to play consistently with, at that position, and that's what we're going to try to do for the remainder of the season.
So what gives you hope then? You said you have hope.
I just think defense, special teams are doing better. The defense is pretty good. And if we can just complete a pass, it would look good. We got to complete some passes. You got to convince them that you can do something. Otherwise, it's hard to have a game that you can win.
Well,
that was amazing. It was amazing.
I have, and I apologize for the front end. I wasn't intending to throw to sound. I was intending to talk about Woody Johnson just generally supporting Aaron Glenn. That's on me. But that moment from Woody Johnson, when you first see it, it's like, wow, is that AI? And then as it sunk in for me through the course of the day, I've never seen or heard an owner speak that bluntly
never
about a player on the team. You know, we've heard some stuff from Jerry Jones, but he's never crapped on a guy's skills like that. If we could just complete a pass, I mean, are you kidding me? And there's the back page of the New York Post. The bus stops here. Woody throws Fields under while praising winless Glenn. And that's the point. He's fully behind Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
He's fully behind Aaron Glenn. And one way he's behind Aaron Glenn is it's the quarterback's fault.
Right.
That's the narrative.
Right.
It's not Aaron Glenn's fault. It's the quarterback's fault. That's the story. And that's got a lot to it. But the front line is I've never heard an owner speak that way about a player. And I think Justin Fields has every right to be pissed off that was something that was said publicly by the owner of the team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Woody Johnson, he wants his team to be more successful. He's responsible for the Aaron Glenn hire, right? So he's going to support that. And the quarterback decision is not necessarily his decision, right? So, yeah, he wants to make sure, hey, the guy I picked, Aaron Glenn, I still believe in that. And all of that. Now, yeah, he made a mistake with the quarterback, and some of our football people did that. We got to fix it. But, yeah, I've never heard an owner speak like that either. I really haven't. Now, if you're Justin Fields, you don't love to hear that. Of course not. But the facts of the matter is, obvious, right? And I know my dad has joked with you, hey, the owner, the one thing they can do is count to 11, right? Is there enough guys on the field? And then, are the seats full or empty? Well, another thing I'd throw into their skill set is they can see whether the quarterback can freaking hit a throw or not. They can see that, and everybody can. It doesn't take much of a trained eye. And their passing game's embarrassing to this at this moment. Embarrassing. I mean, it's significantly the worst in football, by 10, 12, 14, 15 yards, something like that. I mean, it's pitiful. In 2025, But also, I think within that, too, he's looking at it and going, hey, I know, hey, first-year head coaches, we've seen a lot of them struggle, not win games. The guy that Aaron Glenn coached for and Dan Campbell, it took him a while to kind of look positive. And what was he at first, 1-9? Something like that, crazy there. So he understands that takes a little time, but yeah, that's pretty shocking to make that strong of a statement about a player on your football team. But also, I kind of find it cool that he was willing to go that far to defend his coach. So there's a little bit
There's a way to do it. There's a way to defend
I know. It wasn't the best way.
Without shitting on your quarterback.
I know. It wasn't the best way. But there is something I kind of admire about him backing his coach that way, too.
This reminds me of one of the things that I say all the time about the dysfunctional teams in the NFL. It begins at the top. So if you want to know, Jets fans, you want to know why it's been, 15 years and counting since you've been to the playoffs? That soundbite from Woody Johnson is why. Because the dysfunction flows from the top. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand how to properly manage and sell and the importance of, like, who's giving him advice on what you should and shouldn't say? Like, I probably wouldn't say that. I don't know. Did they even prepare him for it? That's part of the job, too. Make sure the guy who's out there speaking knows what to say, when to say it, what not to say. You can praise Aaron Glenn without gratuitously trashing a player. You don't need to gratuitously throw darts at the quality of a player. Everybody knows that Justin Fields isn't good enough. He's about to get benched.
Well, I think that's why he says it, too. I think he wants to make the point. It might be a little bit of a shot to everybody to go, like, I don't want to see him anymore this year. I think it's a little bit of like...
You can do that without saying it out loud.
You definitely can. I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes.
If we're going to criticize Tua... If we're going to criticize Tua for what he said last week, Woody Johnson needs to be criticized even worse because he's the guy who should know better. Yeah. He's the guy who owns the team. He's the guy who needs to treat all of his employees with respect publicly. I mean, could you imagine the CEO of Comcast calling us out for being a couple of frickin' morons, as he could? I mean... how does that make the employee feel when the boss of the company calls you out? So there's a way to handle these issues without taking it public. I really do. The more I think about it, I'm appalled that he did it. I'm astounded that he did it. And I hope Justin Fields speaks today and speaks his mind. I hope Aaron Rodgers, when he speaks today, says, you see what the shit I had to deal with in New York? When I called it a chicken shit operation, here's an example why it's a chicken shit operation.
Well,
folks.
I don't think Woody cares. Like Woody, I feels like Woody's like one of those where when he feels like he's done with you, he's done with you, right? He said a few things pretty harsh about Aaron Rodgers out the door.
Then cut Justin Fields. If you're done with him, cut him. Let him walk away. Let him go play for someone else.
Now, where I will push back at you is I will go, I think it's worse that what Tua said than Woody Johnson. Tua's in the locker room with the players and supposed to be one of the guys. The players can still look at it and go, that's old rich guy that's out of reality. We don't care. The players can deal with that. The quarterback in the locker room saying stuff like that, that's like, what? You were at my house last night for a barbecue. Like, what? So that's different. That's where I'll push back on you a little bit. But your point, regardless, is yes, that's not something you want to say about one of your higher-end employees. And, yes, it sets precedents where, hey, if there's a quarterback next year that maybe the Jets want, they could sit there and go, wait, the Jets and this team, it's close. Oh, Woody Johnson, he said this about, I'll go to the other team, right? That's where you might hurt yourself in those kind of comments when you do that.
That's a great point. Let me just say this. With Tua, look, heat of the moment, didn't call anyone out by name.
Yeah,
now,
that's right.
He painted with, a fairly narrow brush certain teammates, but he didn't call anyone out by name.
Right.
And it was heat of the moment. Woody Johnson was cold-blooded.
It was cold-blooded. You're right.
I mean,
you're right.
And your last point is the most important one. You want to be able to attract free agents without having to pay a premium. Now there's a Woody Johnson premium. Hey, you know who represents Justin Fields?
Probably David Mulugeta.
You are correct, sir.
David Mulugeta, will you be my agent, please?
I could, you know what? I don't have to text him to get an answer to that question.
Yeah.
So I just, the whole thing, it really was amazing. And the effort was, Chris, as you said, to boost Aaron Glenn. But here's the other side of it, too. And this was the gist of the story we wrote about it at PFT yesterday. GM Darren Muji's sitting somewhere saying, what?
Yeah, right.
I hired the guy.
Yeah.
And I started scratching on that a little bit. And I'm trying to get an answer because just because the title general manager doesn't mean Darren Muji is the guy who hired him. Doesn't mean he's the guy who picked him. For now, it's fair for us to assume, absent facts to the contrary, this is Muji, who was being indirectly thrown under the bus for being the one that gave $30 million guaranteed on a 2-year, $40 million contract to Justin Fields when you could have had Daniel Jones for $14 million. You could have had Mac Jones for 2 years, $8.4 million. Just could have rolled with Tyrod Taylor. Now, one of the things I heard yesterday as I started poking around, Muji wanted to keep Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Glenn didn't. I heard that. Now, I think that's irrelevant because Rodgers didn't want to be there. And I don't think Woody wanted to keep Rodgers.
Right.
But I did hear Muji wanted to keep Rodgers and Aaron Glenn didn't.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Surprise me. The Aaron Glenn, Bill Parcells vibe, like, we can't have this guy taking over the team.
Exactly,
we got to speak
right.
with one voice,
Right.
one team, one. But if Muji didn't want Fields, it would be wise for him to dial up some of the people who cover the Jets and get the word out. Here's who wanted Justin Fields, not me.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I love Rick Spielman, but he was involved in the search for the coach and the GM, and I think he's got some consulting role. I remember Rick Spielman, the word was, and it was established, they wanted to move up, get Justin Fields in 2021 draft when Spielman was in Minnesota.
Right.
So somebody's responsible for Justin Fields being there.
Well, yeah,
It's not Aaron Glenn,
that's
as
right.
Woody Johnson would say.
I think defensive guys looked at Justin Fields, right, and Aaron Glenn being a defensive guy, and went, wait, I can win with him. We can run the ball, control the clock. He'll run. We'll get quarterback design runs. He'll scramble and make plays that way. And defensive coaches sometimes like that style of football. We know that. Also, though, defensive coaches sometimes are not very good at evaluating quarterbacks, really. I think there's a little bit of that as well that goes into this. And, yeah, this is one where it feels like Aaron Glenn maybe became a little smitten with Justin Fields when he was in Chicago, and he had his eyes on him there, and then had a style of football that he wants to play as a head coach, and he felt like Justin Fields fits with that. And then I think, like you said, any new coach for the majority is not going to want, wait, there's a king here named Aaron Rodgers already that I got to, bow down to, and I'm supposed to be the new king? So I understand all of that. But, yes, when you make that type of decision and bring in a guy like Justin Fields and get the results that we've seen here right now, you're going to go under the microscope. And now people are going to dig into the organization and go, wait, who actually wanted Justin Fields here? And what the hell happened, right? And so that's where, I do think we will find out that story here sooner rather than later.
That's another reason for Woody Johnson to have not said what he said.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.